يتفضل أستاذ مسفر لإدارة الجلسة القادمة وهي جلسة Best Practices of Entrepreneurial Ecosystem, and I would prefer all the speakers يعني restrict with the English language because our conference is the language of our conference is in English. تفضل أستاذ مسفر. حرص عليهم بس أستاذ مسفر.
سمي بإذن الله إن شاء الله. الصوت مسموع الآن؟
اي نعم تفضل.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. سعد الله مساءكم. Good evening for everybody. Thank you, Dr. Hanadi. Thank you for all of the audience and attendance for this conference. Actually, this is one of the benefits of the IT and IT applications, which is support and support the business all over the world. So now we will start the second session, which is the best practice of entrepreneurial ecosystem. And I have a group of the experts. We have Mr. Afif Barhoumi. He's the investment promotion expert, UNIDO, ITBO, Bahrain. Dr. Ahmed Al-Badri, CEO of Arab Board for the consulting and training from Kuwait State. Mr. Lawrence Cook, the Beverage System Ltd. founder and CEO. And we will start now with Mr. Afif Barhoumi, and I prefer, please, for you all, you can introduce yourself. Maybe you can say a topic, comprehensive topic more than me. Mr. Barhoumi, Mr. Afif.
Hello, thank you very much. You can hear me?
Yeah, it's nice.
I'll be sharing my slides and then I will introduce myself.
Okay.
If somebody can confirm seeing the slides. Okay. You can see my slides.
Yeah.
Okay. So my name is Afif Barhoumi, and I'm a investment promotion expert at the United Nations Industrial Development Organization in the office in Bahrain. And I've been in Bahrain for the past 18 years, promoting investment and supporting the entrepreneurship development ecosystem in the Arab region, in the Gulf countries, in Africa, and around the world. I'm not gonna too much introduce myself. Before working with UNIDO Bahrain, I was working with UNIDO office in Italy for 3 years. Before that, I used to work in one of the biggest mobile operators in the region. And before that, I used to work as an investment promotion expert for the Lebanese government. So what I would like to talk about is the global ecosystem beyond COVID-19. Everybody knows, the retail e-commerce business is expected to reach $6.5 trillion by 2020. The food delivery business is expected to reach around 200 million by 2025. The fintech sector as a whole is expected to reach $460 billion by 2025. E-learning sector, we're looking at $325 billion of investment by 2025. And in the e-learning sector, we also look at the gamification. So this is part of the gamification. Artificial intelligence investments worldwide will reach $58 billion US, and the virtual medical services will double by 2021. So I'm sharing these statistics just to show you where we stand today. I remember, 5 years ago, people rarely talked, at least in the Arab region in general, about e-commerce and buying online and all these things. Corona or COVID has really created unprecedented disruptions to the global economy. We saw the whole world come to a complete stop. value chains, production lines. And the biggest people who were affected were really entrepreneurs and SMEs. Major corporates, they can always figure a way out. They have enough financial capabilities. They have enough resilience to overcome these challenges, despite some of the issues, but still, they were able to overcome them. But the good thing, the Corona has brought in, although it was a very negative effect, it also brought in some positive aspects. It fast forwarded digital access on all levels. 6 months ago or 1 year ago, our kids used to study in school. We never expected that within 6 months, a lot of the schools around the world were able to move from physical into distance learning. Distance learning was planned for the next 5 years. Corona pushed a lot of governments to move into e-services. It moved a lot of financial institutions to go into e-banking, fintech, and whatever. I can give you an example in Bahrain. Since the early days of Corona, by March, or maybe April, May of 2020, we had an app which is called Benefit Pay. Today, you can go wherever you want in Bahrain without carrying your wallet. You just simply tap the phone and then you can do the payment. That was not doable years ago. It's not the issue of not doable, it was not there. So what Corona did, it fast forwarded, digital access on all levels, medical, physical, infrastructure, you name it. It was a perfect opportunity to innovate, assess, and replan. Since we work a lot with entrepreneurs in Bahrain and in 52 countries around the world, we got a lot of feedback from them that it's a good time to reassess, regroup, and then replan entrepreneurial resilience during that Corona period and then post-Corona. It increased the importance of training and upskilling, especially when it comes to virtual. Today we're attending a conference which is completely Zoom. We never knew about Zoom. We never knew how to handle Zoom. We were aware of Skype, but rarely people used it. So it allowed businesses to save money regardless. Restructuring and the whole thing of the whole economy played a significant role. And I know many of our entrepreneurs had to relook and reassess, which made them, look into areas where they can cut costs and cut expenses. And it encouraged a stronger sense of community within, family and building the family and whatever. So entrepreneurial resilience in general, I'm saying, in the Arab region, was good because entrepreneurs, SMEs are fast. They can move swiftly. They can adapt swiftly. I'm not saying everyone, but at least the majority were able. But the issue is the ecosystem resilient enough? And what I mean by that, there's a lot of government support. There's a lot of, the financial institutions, the banks, the chambers, the ministries. Generally speaking, in the Gulf countries, yes, there was a swift move within the ecosystem, but we've seen it in other developing countries like in Africa. The move or the shift in the ecosystem of these ecosystems were not as fast as enough, and still they are lagging behind, as we speak. We have a modality that we've been implementing in Bahrain since 1999, and it's currently implemented in 52 countries around the world, which mainly focuses on, pre-incubation, incubation, and post-incubation. I know due to the short time period, I'm not going to go into detail into that, but if somebody has an interest, we can always, discuss and elaborate more. So what we have done, we have shifted our physical services because our work, entrepreneurship development is mainly based on business counseling, business mentorship, coaching, and follow-up. So, and this requires a lot of physical interaction. So with the Corona, we had to switch to virtual platforms. And I believe it was successful to a certain extent, but I think, people are getting used to it and are adapting. What we do through our modality is that we provide services along the business cycle of the SME or the entrepreneur, from startup to growth to expansion to maturity, which at the level of maturity, we start linking them with foreign investors. So the entrepreneurship ecosystem is mainly based on the youth, the woman, the entrepreneur himself, and then it has to be developed in complete synergy with line ministries. It has to go in line with NGOs, SME entrepreneur associations, women associations, financial institutions, banks, and then there has to be a networking with foreign investment for technology, for cash investment, for market access. The ecosystem also has to have incubators and accelerators. And then there has to be a big, a sizable pool of experts from universities or technical experts and mentors. So the ecosystem that we develop wherever we implement our modality is based on this skeleton of an ecosystem. In many countries, we realize that, like I can give an example, in the case of Egypt, financial institutions were not able to really swiftly move into, fintech and online banking, accelerators, incubators, because they provide physical spaces and direct services. It was not easy to adapt to this swift changing conditions, licenses coming out from ministries. In the case of Bahrain, and I know in some parts of the GCC, this is not an issue anymore. But the e-government and moving into e-government platforms was not really as smooth as we expected. So this is where we implement our modality. We address entrepreneurs in different sectors, in different categories, in startup, in growth, in maturity. So this is how it goes. We already, before Corona and COVID came in, we had developed with Intel Corporation the Virtual Innovation and Entrepreneurship Hub, which is there, that provides online counseling, online training, capacity building, creating linkages for entrepreneurs. But what we have done is that we realized that there is a need for a marketplace or for an e-commerce marketplace, because many of the entrepreneurs are used to physical selling. So this is a new feature that we added to this virtual entrepreneurship and innovation hub. There's a major event that we are organizing, that we organize every 2 years, which is the World Entrepreneurs Investment Forum. And it's an opportunity for us to invite all those who are attending, all those who are participating in this conference to join us in the World Entrepreneurs Investment Forum 2022, which will be held as part of the Dubai Expo 2020 under the banner of the League of Arab States. And you can see our partners, Union of Arab Banks, the Dubai SME, Muassasat Mohammed bin Rashid for small and medium-sized enterprises. So what we're theming the conference is connecting minds to go in line with the Dubai Expo, and how we can achieve the SDGs through entrepreneurship, innovation, and investment, and looking at what we call the post-COVID era, because I think there is a new reality in the world. We have to accept it. Corona is here, and I think this is my personal view. This is not the UN view. We believe Corona is here and it's here to stay. So accordingly, we have to, adapt ourselves to Corona. Corona will not adapt itself to us. So this is an open invitation to anyone who's interested in joining, and then we'll be having 9 themes to be addressed. One of the things I would like to highlight is that as part of the World Entrepreneurs Investment Forum, we are organizing the Arab Entrepreneurship and Innovation Rally, which is mainly focused on stimulating Arab university students on developing innovative ideas, taking into consideration robotics, programming, applications, AI, virtual reality, smart tech, and how they can address the challenges that we live in when it comes to industry, tourism, orange economy, agriculture, green and blue environment, and then post-COVID solutions. It's a very important activity that we run, where we address and we have finalists from each Arab country who go to the finals and compete against one another. So it's a very prestigious rally that will stimulate ideas. And this is where we lack in the Arab world. We have a lot of entrepreneurship competitions, but we lack innovative competitions. Now, some of the promising sectors that we foresee, and knowing these sectors will help us really to shape.
Sorry for interruption, Mr. Afif.
Tafadhal.
Because the time's up a little bit. We have 10 minutes for each. If it's possible to just.
This is the last slide.
Okay.
Okay, so the promising sectors post-corona will help us start looking at how we can develop this entrepreneurship and innovation ecosystem. The sectors of high growth, 4.0, retail, e-commerce, healthcare, financial, logistics, smart buildings, online education, drones, robotics, and automation. So having these sectors in mind, it will help us mold and develop our existing ecosystems towards satisfying these promising sectors. I thank you once again, and I would like to thank Dr. Hanadi for this conference. I'm sorry for being a little bit late. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Afif. And now, Dr. Ahmed Al-Badri, CEO of Arab Board of Consulting and Training from Kuwait State. تفضل دكتور Ahmed. I don't know if Dr. Hanadi with us. She can assure that Dr. Ahmed is available, or دكتور
يعطيك
هنادي.
العافية الدكتور أحمد والله مو موجود الآن، إذا ممكن تباشر حضرتك.
Okay, Mr. Lawrence Cook. Sorry for Dr. Ahmed, he is not here. Mr. Lawrence can start with us, please.
كمان هو إن شاء الله 10 دقائق راح يدخل.
Okay, no problem. Okay, now I think it's my time. So I will not talk a lot about the technology and its interfere in the entrepreneurial or business in these days. Actually, the technology is the main thing in the business these days. After we see and we learned a lot of lessons after the coronavirus and the risk which most of the business had according to the affected of the coronavirus. Anyway, I will talk about the technology in the business from the side of strategic planning. It was different before, and before the technology deeply interfere in the business, and it's not that important thing to just keep it main part in the strategic planning for the business. But nowadays, when we after the result of the sharing or the support of the technology in risk management, and then the whole business in the past 2 years, if we all of you can see that most of the business who's rely on the technology from the beginning, like many companies, huge companies, they don't affected by the COVID-19, and they still continue and they sustain. They keep continuing their business all over the world, and it support them to just find and invest in many environments and many countries more than before. Also, when there is a lockdown in the pandemic, technology help us actually to to solve or to help us and to get our needs from the grocery, from the pharmacy, from other things that we need. Even if you have something to do from the procedures in the government or the some procedures in the other even the private sector. So I think the lessons that we learned from this event occurred, or this occurrence, we have to keep the technology is the main part of the strategic of the further strategic planning in all business, even it's public business or private, or in the public sector or the private sector. So I think technology and pandemic will be a part of our life from now till we don't know when this inshallah will end, but I think that will not end, but we will change our lifestyle to rely on the technology and everything. Mr. Afif, he mentioned many of the things that I wanted to mention, which is like the schools, like the procedures, like for example, here in Saudi Arabia, now we don't need to go to the any department or any entity to just try to complete our procedures. For example, in the Ministry of Interior, for the passport side, for the any part of the government we can just use the applications of the online. And for example, a live example for us now, our conference, we are more than 300 experts. We gathering from all the parts of the world, and we discuss our ideas. We get we gain experience, we gain information from others. That's only everybody is staying in his private place, exactly, and he drinking his coffee, and he don't need to travel anywhere. We don't need to be gathering together, and this is protects from also the pandemic effects. And this is one of the live example for that. So from the strategical side, we have to the conclusion of my part. We have to keep the technology is the main part of next of the further strategic plans in our business, or you will be in a risk. We don't know what will happen in the future, but if we have to protect ourselves to try to find a solid platform in our business by keeping the technology, managing everything. The interfere of the HR, the interfere of a human being is required, and we need to operate some machines. But the smart systems, the intellectual or artificial intelligence can help us or can manage most of the things that we need. So this is my conclusion, and thank you for Dr. Hanadi. She is doing a very great efforts to just establish this conference, and we hope to see, inshallah, in the future more of this kind of events. And thank you for all audience and participants. And this is my side, and now we'll try to, if Dr. Ahmed Al-Badri or Mr. Lawrence is ready, he can participate us now or join us. Dr. Hanadi or Mr. Zakkout, if he's Mr. Cook.
Hello, hi, good afternoon from London.
Good afternoon. Nice to see you, and the floor is yours.
Fantastic. Would it be a suitable time for me to share my slides now and start?
Yeah, you can start, and we prefer to just introduce yourself, please, because I don't introduce you as we wish.
Of course, I'll be more than happy to do that. So my name is Lawrence Campbell-Cook. I'm the founder and chief executive of PaveGen, and we make floors that generate energy from your footsteps. So when you walk on our floor, we convert the weight of your steps to electrical power. And I've got a short kind of overview of how we've grown a business from the UK as a concept to something that is now across 36 countries, that is in Saudi today, is in Abu Dhabi and Dubai, and growing in the region as well. So I'm going to give an overview of that. So thank you so much for having me today. And would you like me to start sharing some slides now and start the talk? I'll assume it's a yes, so I will just jump in now, and please shout. So now you should see a slide on the screen. Maybe can anyone just confirm they can see my slide and everything's okay, and I'll kind of start the story? Fantastic. Okay, guys. So yeah, greetings from London, and today I'm going to talk a bit about the background of why we see such a huge opportunity in smart cities of the future with our technology, how it started, how we've grown it, and where we see the future of smart cities and technologies to improve people's lives. So we're going to be talking about how to improve the world through the power of a human footstep. So something as simple as walking and generating energy, we see it as a huge potential. So our vision is to be this digital layer in future cities. Now, we see cities as a really interesting area to get involved in, with over 7 billion people on this planet and a majority living in cities, and COVID making cities a bigger choice for consumers to live in. It's been proven that cities like London and New York, people are unhappier but richer. So we know that cities are a very tough place because whilst you may get tremendous wealth, there's also tremendous unhappiness in cities. And I think cities can be a beautiful place to live, and we're going to tell you why. But cities are suffering. Look at Delhi with over 2 million children having permanent lung damage, and countries are suffering because of climate change. And ultimately, cities, they make us richer but not happier. And cities have also been built for machines in the past, and cities until now have been built by banks and by financial institutions. So, and by that we mean all about making cities about return on investment rather than somewhere to make me really happy to be in. And that's changing, especially in the GCC region. So we believe that health is wealth. Being happy and healthy is about the next 100 years. The last 100 years on this planet was all about people being wealthy themselves, but now being healthy is the most important thing. So my question is, can cities be a beautiful place to live? Can we make an urban oasis in the heart of a city, somewhere that people want to live? We need to put people first in our cities. Human beings, the human population is the most important thing about making a city work. Yes, the environment's really important, but that should come hand in hand with human existence and happiness. And so I've created this concept of a way where we're building the internet of beings. Okay, it's not about the internet of things and connected devices everywhere we go. It's about people being part of the solution, people doing something physical and having a digital element to it. Now, my journey started as a student in a university in the UK, and here I am building my first ever prototype. And I came across this idea of, I thought, why can't we use renewables in urban areas to make them a better place to live? And I realized that solar and wind don't really work in these urban environments because there's not much sun in dense urban areas. I sit here today in the heart of London in Covent Garden, and I can see a small glimpse of sky above me out my window, but the rest is towered by buildings. And in many urban developments, it's the same story. So I left this energy company where I was developing these solar streetlights. And I kept thinking about the problem of energy and people in cities. And I thought, what do we have a lot of? We have lots of people in cities. They're moving a lot and there's lots of footsteps. So I thought, can I use the energy of people walking as a new way to improve cities? So off I went at university and I spent 14 hours in a workshop and I built a floor as a prototype that when you walk on the floor, it would generate power from the movement. And I thought, this is something really interesting. Could I use this in all cities? Then I first tested it in a school, and I started to learn how people interacted with the product. And you can see here, kids found it fun. Some people said I'd invented the gamification of energy. Was that even a good thing? We realized it really was. Then we started to travel around the United Kingdom, testing it at leading dance events, and suddenly realized that you can charge your mobile phone from the floor. And wouldn't that be cool if you can, the more people dancing, the more you could charge your phone, and it could also control lighting there. And that was really successful. Then the idea literally got legs, excuse the pun, and the concept started going around the world. People started really understanding the potential of it. So that's when the journey really started. We went ahead and we raised some investment. We started to scale the business because we saw the real opportunity in this sector. So fast forward today, we've now made over 900 manufactured concepts have gone through to production. We now call it the PaveGen V3. So it's a triangular tile. And when you stand on the tile, it produces 2 to 5 watts of energy. It works inside, it works outside, and it can withstand incredibly high temperatures and also really cold ones too. So it's a very, very durable way of generating energy in urban environments. We're also an advanced manufacturing technology business where we design, we research, we produce, we assemble, and we can utilize the latest technologies and innovations to build the most perfect products for this market. And we've gone through this journey of building hundreds of different versions. And now we have a highly robust version of the product that we're now selling in many different markets. I'll talk more about that soon. So to recap, we made energy fun. Here you can see some people on the Hollywood Boulevard jumping on PaveGen. We made it fun. And the way we look at it now is it's really the first step in the ambition loop with society. So what I mean by that is governments and organizations have these big ambitions, and look at Saudi Arabia and the plans that MBS has put forward for cities like Neom and for the whole country. Is there's this huge ambition. Now, PaveGen is the first step in that ambition loop. Yes, the whole country will be entirely powered from renewable sources, by 2030 and so forth. But this is the first step to making a difference. So we see us as the first movement in that space. And so with this in mind and us kind of launching the business, we had this idea. We thought, if you could generate power from a footstep that would say light a light bulb, what if it could do something else for you? So we found a way that every single footstep could give you rewards on your mobile device. So what I mean by that is, as you walk over the floor, your footsteps can give you points. And you might say, well, what's the point in that? Well, actually, imagine you're in a mall. You're walking through a busy mall in Saudi Arabia, and your footsteps are powering the lights in the mall. But imagine if your steps could be counted, and you could either donate your steps to a charity of your choice or get a discount at brands like Starbucks off your coffee. We're encouraging green behavior in a sustainable way. You can even use your steps as a digital currency and spend them around your city whilst being healthy and whilst being sustainable as well. So, we want to increase the well-being of communities using human energy. People should run, people should jump. We may have got some children in trouble at school because all they did was run up and down the corridors on our floor, and they should have been walking. But the teachers luckily forgave them. And it shows that actually people walking is a really positive thing. So since we've had this idea of making cities a better place, we've been lucky to work with some of the world's biggest companies, from everything from the Chelsea Flower Show, Brookfield Development, Nissan, Google, French rail business SNCF have all shared our vision. And now it's not just us with the idea, it's the Crown Prince of Dubai who walks on PaveGen. We've recently taken investment from Wadi Maka Ventures, who've invested in the business and one of our lead investors in this round. So obviously they're linked to the government in Saudi Arabia, and it really solidifies our commitment to grow in this market. So we've got leaders in Dubai, leaders in Saudi Arabia and even hip hop stars like Akon are installing PaveGen in soccer pitches in Nigeria. And just this week, we're back from COP26 in Glasgow, where we had Boris Johnson. Whether you like him or not, he can jump higher than me on a PaveGen. You can see him there. Justin Trudeau, Mike Bloomberg, and even will.i.am on our products. We've got some great supporters out there. So we see PaveGen as one small step for humans. You just need to walk, but it really is one giant leap for mankind towards making the environment we live in better and a more fun place to live in. And we've done that through really putting people first. It's not about machines. It's not about making cities just to make you money. It's about making cities a beautiful place for humans to live in and to really enjoy it. And so, we've made this really exciting product that brings communities together, that makes sustainability fun. Who would have thought that children going to when I was this age, a very boring supermarket experience, suddenly making it fun and interactive while shopping in Barcelona? Or a running track in Hong Kong, and as you run on the running track, it powers the lights in a building itself. And even this, which is just in from yesterday, where we've gone live in Dubai Expo 2020, we've made 4 energy playgrounds. And as you walk on, play a game on the playground, it controls games. So people are playing on it and really having fun with PaveGen. People are leading the way towards sustainability and future urban environments. So this is a demo where we donated the energy of people walking towards homeless people in central London, outside the UBS headquarters, and then rewarding that behavior through our digital platform as well. So it's being used in the Middle East. It's being used in the first smart city in Bangkok, urban institutions in the UK, and even some of the busiest shopping sites like Oxford Street. So we see this opportunity as a massive area for us to grow in places like Saudi Arabia, with the invent of NEOM and the tremendous progress, as we understand, being made there. We're fascinated by the opportunity of this new development, I guess the size of Belgium, and using sustainability in a new way and taking mobility in from a new stand. We see our kind of growth in this region being driven through these game-changing projects, which we believe, there isn't anywhere else on the planet building anywhere near as ambitiously and as boldly as what we're seeing in Saudi Arabia today. So we have an operation there, and we're looking to scale that, and very much, working closely with the UK trade, DIT, to facilitate that scale in the market. So, we've captured the world's imagination today, and really we're fascinated with what the future holds with sustainability, wellness, and really changing the way people live. So, I'll keep pounding the pavements for PaveGen here in London, and hope to meet a lot of you in due course in the Saudi market soon. So thank you so much, and welcome a chance for questions if we have any.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lawrence. And I think it's better if you have, we still have time. We are lucky actually in this session. We come back to Mr. Barhoumi if you have anything to add. That would be great. And Mr. Lawrence, you can just stay with us. We can, maybe we need to just explain a little bit about your experience, about your company experience in London or in UK.
Certainly, yeah. So the experience we've had in the United Kingdom has been, there's a fantastic entrepreneurial ecosystem. I believe strongly in the power of the tribe. So we have a really strong tribe of entrepreneurs and leaders who have supported a lot of our growth. And there's obviously very good tax incentives here. So we raised our first, I think, £350,000 with a really simple business plan. And that led to us winning our first contract with a large international brand. And then what actually we found is, we grew the team based in central London in this ecosystem. Is London is obviously, I believe, and I'm biased because I'm here, but for working internationally and scaling internationally, it's a great time zone to be dealing with, west coast of the US, Hong Kong, and the Middle East. It really does sit in the middle of where we see the world and our client base today. We've taken investment from, as well as our Wadi Makkah ventures, we've also raised investment from the two richest men in the UK, and they're called the Hiduja Group. They run that. And so we've been lucky to meet some of the, I guess, real industrialists that can support our growth. And then an interesting phenomenon is crowdfunding. So we use the crowd equity platform, and we think of it like a mini IPO. We did the largest and quickest grossing clean tech fundraise in history in 2015, and we raised around 2.4 million from almost 3,000 investors to support the growth of the business. And that's allowed us to recruit a world-leading team, really grow exponentially, but without giving away control of the business to more private equity VC style investors. And we found that to be a really strong benefit for me as a founder to still have control at this stage. And it allows us to keep doors open when we're looking at raising further investment and selling the business in the future to new partners. So I think, London is a fantastic place, but we do have aspirations and greater in the Middle Eastern market. So we do have representatives there. And I remember that I was actually meant to be hosting an event in the UK embassy in Saudi the day of COVID breaking out. I think I'd even paid for the sandwiches and the food. Yeah. And the day COVID shut everything down, we stopped it. So we are keen to come back out on mass, and that will happen shortly with the support of DIT. I have noticed there's one question around, is our floor, our energy floor, vandal proof? I just thought I'd kind of quickly answer that, if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
The floor in the urban environment, it's one of the toughest environments known to man. So we've had to engineer something that can be vandal proof in all sorts of markets. So even in Africa, you can imagine, people dig up manhole covers for the raw material value. So we need to make sure that it's highly durable. So the page then has to be accessed with a special key to access inside the panel, and everything is fixed down, is incredibly robust. So the only implement that could probably damage it is a pickaxe. And I don't think there's much in a city that can withstand a pickaxe. So it has to be, an incredibly robust technology and system to do that as well. So welcome.
But I think Saudi Arabia these days, actually Riyadh will be the core of the business in the world. My point of view, if you agree with me or others, I think you have to have a huge plan, a plan of business in Saudi Arabia these days. And I think there's a new project which is opening by His Excellency the Crown Prince yesterday or 2 days ago, which is Oxygen. This is will be something brilliant, and will be open a lot of investment for all the companies all over the world.
Well, fantastic. We'd love to hear more about that, certainly. So we're very much keen, and my email's on the screen there if there's anyone who wishes to speak further and has any ideas of any projects. So I think our focus is certainly on seeing Saudi Arabia as one of the most ambitious countries, the boldest vision, which aligns with ours. So very much keen to understand more about those new projects and how we can help them to really change the way people look at energy in them.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Lawrence.
Dr. If you just allow me for a quick question, Lawrence, this is really impressive what we have seen today, and I just wanted to ask. It's a technical question. How much energy or electricity is really generated? From this. I heard you said light bulb. You said charging a mobile, but if you go big scale, what's the energy that if you have some figures?
Yeah. So. Great question. Thank you so much, and thank you for your kind words. So Padium produces 2 to 4 watts of energy per step, and as I mentioned, it can do things like power a mobile device, or do things like power an LED light bulb. Now, it will not power the world, and it will not power London just from people's footsteps. Pavegen works as being part of the energy mix. So I would say in things like, if you look at Jeddah, obviously solar energy is going to make up a huge part of the energy requirement, but in dense urban areas, we can take areas off grid. So I wouldn't look at Pavegen purely as an energy tool. We're a tool that brings energy to life. And some of the people, some of our biggest clients say, look, we've spent $100 million on solar. We've covered all our roofs. In the UK, we've got ground source heat pumps, heat exchanger. We've done everything, but no one knows what we've done. We've done all this, but no one knows. So we say, well, look, let's put paved in the entrance of your buildings and busy crossing roads, and it will play a portion of the wider energy makeup. And it won't be its entirety, but it is getting people involved. And ultimately, you know, we were speaking with the CFO of Alphabet at COP26 last week, and they said, look, behavior change is the #1 thing the West needs to do to conquer climate change. And we are the first step in making a difference with behavior change. So it's not a pure energy tool. It won't give you a payback anywhere near as quick as solar, but it is something that can sit alongside them that will produce a small amount of power. So thank you so much for your question, and you know, welcome a chance to talk more.
Mr. Barhoumi, if you have any add.
You know, I believe there's a lot coming up with Corona, regardless of Corona, and you know, the drive towards, you know, AI.
Corona is still there. Corona is still there, I think.
Yeah, I think it's part of the past now. You know,
it's a fact.
Yeah, but you know, we see a lot of, you know, potentiality on the 4.0 and utilizing, you know, the 4.0 for a lot of things. You know, what Lawrence just showed is absolutely pretty simple and pretty interesting, honestly, to look at that. You know, and I can see a lot of Lawrence. I will send you an email and explain to you, because we're UNIDO, we're a United Nations agency that deals with investment promotion. And I can see, you know, a lot of schools in Bahrain, you know, malls, and you know, and that can be can benefit from this, you know. So I once again, Yani, thank you, Dr. Misfir, for your time management, and to Dr. Hanadi, and this is from my side.
Thank you. Now I think we are going to the end of our session, and thanks for Mr. Afif Barhoumi, and thanks also for Mr. Lawrence. We get very valuable experience, a very valuable presentation, both of you. Thank you very much, and we can transfer now to Dr. Hanadi to another track, next track, this third session.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks for all the speakers for the sessions. It was a great presentation and really value added to our event. Mr. Lawrence, would you mind please to reflect the UK achievement for best practices for the entrepreneurial ecosystem? Specifically, you are leading in innovation as well as entrepreneurship.
Sure, yeah. I think if you look at the UK, we're amazing at design, engineering, and education and brands. Okay, so we've built together this melting pot of ideas and creativity that is being exported to the world. So you could say JCB trucks to I think, you know, people like McLaren, or also Aston Martin is a good one. Yeah, there's some incredibly valuable products and brands that we've created here. And I guess we come from an industrial background, but I think the government has really promoted high growth technology startups, where London is seen now as an epicenter for technology development, especially things like fintech, that it's really flown in recent months. So there's a number of unicorns that have recently come to existence. So I think we're lucky, I think, in London as a mixing pot, because you've got the financial institutions and the money that's there, and then sitting right next door to that is this kind of innovation hub that is really facilitated by the British government so much. So I think that for me, you know, it's a really great place. I would say from an operational standpoint, salaries are certainly less than Silicon Valley salaries. Accommodation, living costs, which is really important when you're building a team out, is certainly less than being in the heart of Menlo Park or Palo Alto, where traditional ventures may be based. And you've got this amazing connectivity, and it's only a few hours flight to go to the GCC from London. And ultimately, I guess there's a huge population in Saudi who also very much enjoy London too. So there's this kind of cross-fertilization of ideas where I will meet some of my Saudi investors in London and vice versa. So I think the government's really helped. The strong educational institutions and has helped, and this kind of rich culture of innovation, ideas, and growing it has really led to, I think, London being an epicenter of innovation, design, and startups and creativity.
Based on my experience with respect to the other European countries, I think UK it's leading in innovation. And based on the history, I know in UK it's the oldest innovation center. It's St. John Innovation, and St. John Innovation Director, he will be participate shortly as a keynote speakers in our conference. David Gill.
Well, fantastic, great example of innovators. I mean, we have some of the oldest innovations I always remember is Brunel, the old engineer, and going back hundreds of years. Brunel made the first ever pulley systems for the old sailing vessels, and the British Navy said we need more boats, and they couldn't build more boats because they didn't have enough of these pulleys for the rigging. So Brunel went away and built an industrial manufacturing line, the first of its kind in the world, that allowed us to mass produce these pulleys that would then allow the Navy to start building more merchant ships. And it's innovations like that I think really gave us the can-do attitude of being industrialists. And I guess more recently, look at someone like James Dyson, who spent most of his time in innovating in the UK, and the changes that's made to the world of something as simple as a vacuum cleaner. So we have got these amazing people, and obviously Elon Musk is the equivalent in the US, and there are those kind of people under the radar here in the UK. So I hope that we hear more over the course of the rest of this.
Based on your talk, really we can speak about this year. UK it's helping the nation to survive from the death under the pandemic COVID-19. Then they identify the vaccine. Then the vaccine, it's the outcomes from the innovations lab and innovations program. This is which reflect the importance of our conference worldwide, contributed in innovation and entrepreneurship and artificial intelligence.
Certainly, I think the Oxford vaccine and other innovations that have come out have obviously affected everyone's lives in the entire world. The reason that we can now go back to in-person meetings is due to some of those innovations. And then, if you look at other things like salary growth in the UK since the pandemic, we're having some of the highest rates of salary growth. Rent has gone up by 13%, which is one of the highest levels ever, showing that there is, and also unemployment is at an all-time low as well. So the UK is certainly bouncing back. If you ask me as a CEO, it's a bit frustrating having to pay more salaries to new employees, but it's testament to the fact that the market here is incredibly buoyant. There's incredible talent and lots of opportunities internationally as well.
You are a very success model in Europe. Everybody is following you.